I was going to start this video about chain lubrication by showing you a bottle of WD-40 as if I was about to tell you that that was a suitable chain lubricant. However, we do not even keep a bottle of WD-40 in this shop because it is not suitable to use on chains or any bicycle components for that matter. This is not a bicycle-specific designed compound, and thus you should use something modern and designed for bicycles like Muc Off Dry and Wet Lubricant. So now that we've addressed the elephant in the room, and you don't have to feel bad if you are using WD-40, just please come get some good stuff. Let's talk about the Muc Off Wet and Dry Lubricants. The biggest difference between a wet and a dry lubricant is the compound on which it is based. The wet lubricant is based around oil. It's an oil-based compound, and thus it tends to stick to the chain, and it typically will attract a little bit more dust and dirt, things that you kick up while riding. However, the dry lubricant is based around wax, and it almost comes out wet as well, but over time it will dry to an almost powdery-like finish, which will coat your chain and still allow for that same efficient shifting, smooth riding, and overall good performance. Wet lubricant overall tends to be a little bit longer lasting. It'll stay on your chain a bit longer, and as the name implies, it's also suitable for wet conditions. So if it starts to rain, or even if it just rained in the area and you're kicking up that moisture that's still on the ground when you're out riding, the wet lubricant, of course, will do a great job of shedding that water as it is an oil, and thus you will continue to ride happy in the rain. Great. So the dry lubricant, on the other hand, will wash out with the rain. You can still get away with using it in semi-wet conditions. However, we do recommend avoiding using it in a rainy condition. And that is because the rain, of course, will come through and wash that wax off. Again, once it dries and sets, it is almost like a powder that can be washed off with the rain. However, that said, the dry lubricant is going to be a little bit more efficient than the wet lubricant, and there's also a huge benefit in that the dry lubricant will not attract a significant amount of dust and dirt. So if you use it correctly, and that is by applying it to the chain, wiping off the excess and letting the dry lubricant set, then that chain is almost dry to the touch and it won't attract additional dirt as you ride. However, that said, when you apply the wet lubricant, you also need to take great pains to wipe off that excess lubricant. You only want the lubricant itself in the rollers of the chain, because just like oil in a car, which lubricates a metal-on-metal environment to reduce heat and friction, if you don't use lubricant and you let your chain run dry, it will sound bad, it will degrade faster, and it will slow you down. So for the performance-minded cyclist, it is important to lubricate your chain at almost every opportunity you can get. You don't want it to be dirty, you don't want it building up grime and grit, as that will slow you down and degrade not only the life of your chain, but the life of the rest of your drivetrain as well. So we've got 2 lubricants here in the shop. We'd love for you to come check them out. We are Muc Off's only dealer in Richmond here, so we love their products and would like you to come by the shop and grab some.